this for you and get rid of all the clutter for just a minute. Is this really the country we are? Is this where we are at this moment? Because I was not happy with the results in 2008, 2012, and I'm sure some of you watching weren't that happy either. Did you see me throwing a temper tantrum? Was I crying hysterically? Was I carrying on because I didn't get my way or you didn't get your way? Of course not, because that's not how adults act. But apparently this is how the PC culture, where everybody's a winner, everybody gets a participation trophy, and these liberals operate. I mean, really, therapy dogs? We have a national epidemic, about 250,000 soldiers coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, real suffering that they're going through. It's called PTSD. They experience real pain, real trauma, real suffering, watching their friends have their legs blown off and die right in their arms. But we're supposed to roll out the red carpet for sore loser liberals because their subpar, crooked, corrupt candidate lost an election? Please, give me a break. I think it's time to grow up. And how about these protesters? Why do they have so much free time on their hands? Do any of these people have jobs? Isn't it time to get out of mommy and daddy's basement and maybe go to work? Maybe time to start contributing to society instead of throwing a hissy fit because they didn't get what they wanted? This is way out of control. PC culture. It's part of the reason why you, the American people, I argue, voted for Donald Trump. Because the nonsense that's being carried out from this overly coddled generation, this has got to stop. Everyone doesn't get a trophy. Everyone can't be the winner. And the only person who gets to be president right now is going to be Donald Trump because he won. That's how real life works. And on top of all of that, according to Politico, and you got that guy, billionaire progressive liberals like George Soros. Well, they're now meeting with key congressional Democrats. Why? They want a plan to come up with and spend a lot of money and try and stop the mandate that you gave Donald Trump and, quote, take back power. Now think about it. If you're my age, would this have been acceptable behavior when you were growing up, or when your parents were growing up, or your grandparents were growing up? Well, of course not. My grandparents, they came to this country from Ireland. They had 20 bucks in their pocket. They maybe knew one person over here and maybe had a little corner in the basement to sleep in every night. There were no therapy dogs available to them. They had to go to work 16 hours a day, and literally they had to cope with institutional racism. Irish Catholic need not apply at the time. There was no coddling, there was no comforting for my father. He grew up poor in Bed-Stuy in Brooklyn. My mother, who grew up in the South Bronx, no coddling for them, no therapy dogs for them. But they did bust their humps to afford a tiny Cape Cod house on a 50 by 100 lot, and they didn't whine. They didn't complain. They worked hard for all that they had. They didn't take vacations. They sacrificed for their kids. I wasn't traumatized because I delivered papers at 8, and I was washing dishes by hand in a restaurant every Friday and Saturday night and Sunday when I was 12, and cooking when I was 13, and bussing tables at 14 and 15, and waiting tables at 16, and tending bar at 17. I love those jobs. I always had money in my pocket. There was no therapy session for me when I was working, no hot cocoa from a teacher, or when I was working construction, carrying lumber for framing or lugging shingles or painting or hanging paper or laying tile. I can't relate to this absurd behavior, and I doubt you can either. This is not what America's all about. This is now collective insanity, and it's really all time for these little pampered, spoiled brats to get over themselves. The election has been won, and Donald Trump will be your next president. Joining us now is President-elect Donald Trump, Senior Advisor Kellyanne Conway.